Hey guys, what's up? This is Tormental, and I am doing a bit of a follow-up video to the Twitch TV drama video that you saw before. Basically, where we talked about what was going on, what's being done with relation to us, and so on and so forth. You know, if you want to hear everything about that, watch the previous video. Anyway, I got a reply from Ohmwrecker, who's the streamer who's all of this all of this happened in. His moderators, are the ones that are involved in this, or not all of them, but you get the idea. Anyway, I had contacted him on Twitter, saying that there was a problem and would I be able to talk to him and so on and so forth. And he said, to email him, not contact him on Twitter. And I sent him off a letter about it. Basically no response to much of this until I said I was going to make a video about it, and then of course there was response on Twitter. Still no reply to the email. But then of course, and if you hear my cat in the background, sorry about that. Cat's got a cat. Cat's got a cat, motherfucker. But yeah, after I posted the video, now of course there's a reply to the email. So you basically go from not having time for something to having time for it once it's put out there and people know what's going on. But anyway, I just wanted to go through this letter with you guys because it's a bit disconcerting and strange, and I don't really appreciate what's going on here. So I just wanted to sort of sit down and talk with you guys about it. Chris, I have returned the donations you sent. Okay. So basically what happened was Ohmwrecker was running a fundraising thing to reimburse himself for the bills associated with a plumbing problem and, plumbing emergency. And so I pitched in and I donated to that to help him out. And I'm not going to ask for any credit for that or any, fucking medal or something. But if I don't like Ohm and I'm trash talking him and I, do all the stuff that the moderators made up, why would I be donating to help him pay off a plumber? That, it just doesn't make sense. So anyway, that, I just wanted to point that out because, this is like nonsense land. So, whatever. Following this response, I do not want to be contacted about any of this again. Well, that doesn't really play much of a factor in what I do, what you want to have happen, so. As I continue to tell you, as I have from the start, it has nothing to do with me, and that you'd have been completely free or fine in my chat. I know that and I'm going to address most of this to Ohm, and it's not that I think he'll watch this. He says he watched the previous video, or he relates to, something about it, but I don't know if he even really watched that. Because, he contradicts a lot of stuff that was said in it, so if he watched it, where was he? But I'm going to address this to Ohm, this video, but that's basically just for conversational purpose. I don't want to keep saying, and so everybody watching, if this is the case, then what about this? I'll just say Ohm, like I'm talking to him. Anyway, Ohm has said that multiple times, that he's not involved, but he is actually involved. I mean, who was the streamer? Ohm. Whose chat was this? Ohm. Whose moderators are these? Ohm's moderators? Who, after I expose what's going on and I, come out saying what's, been happening, who's the person telling me that I am, just making shit up? Ohm. Okay, so Ohm, it seems like you're involved in this. I mean, who was the person who supposedly has received stolen documents from, stolen chat logs from a private Skype group to try to fucking torpedo us? I think that's Ohm. So, again, allegedly, because the only way to know for sure is if you were at his table watching over his shoulder as he read it. But the moderators claim to have sent it to him, So yeah, it seems like you are involved. I think it does have something to do with you, man. I tried to, and this is stuff where it'll sound like a silly statement or whatever, but I'm being 100% legit with you guys. I sent this in to try to help him. Because there is nothing in it for me to tell him shit. I have nothing to gain from telling him what was going on. I've already left the chat. I've already left the stream that I wasn't watching anyway, and I, can just move on with my life. I gain nothing from informing him as a helpful gesture that his moderators are treating people badly. Probably not just us. So, telling you that there's a problem in your house, is not an attack on you, Ohm, okay? Anyway. For reference sake, your email provided information after which you claimed that you had no requests, demands, or suggestions. I remember that. I was there when I wrote it. Outside of you being friends with the person that I'm not allowed to mention, I don't have the person's permission, the donations you sent, and the email you sent expressing an interest in collaborating with me, which I'll explain in a minute, I knew absolutely nothing of your troubles with anyone else until you sent me the email with specifics. Okay. The person who's blacked out here is a secondary party who was ejected from another stream under the same exact thing that happened to me. Another thing where moderators made up something about this person, saying they trash talk people off-site, and they ousted this person as well. They've pulled the same false bullshit tactic twice on two different people. You think there's no fucking problem? Alright. Anyway, I'm trying not to get worked up, but, when it's so disingenuous and so disconnected from reality, it just is easy to get a little bit pissed off about it. Because it's like someone coming up to you and saying water's not wet, and you're like, you serious, bruh? Anyway. The person who's blacked out here, that I'm not allowed to talk about, contacted Ohm. Without me knowing, and mentioned me to Ohm. Because this is somebody who's a friend of mine. So they contacted Ohm and said something about collaborating or whatever. Following up on that, after I was told, I emailed Ohm and I sent him a letter saying, I just heard from this person that they talked to you about this, and I figured I would send you my information, whatever. So that, in this sentence, is you sent an email expressing an interest in collaborating with me. So that's what that is. And it, whatever. I need to move on because this is going to be too long. This video is going to be way too long if I don't move on. Try not to get dragged down in things. But the interesting thing about this is, I knew nothing of your troubles with anyone else until you sent me the email with specifics. So let's break down this sentence. What Ohm is saying here is, I didn't know there was a problem until I was told there was a problem. So what's your point? I don't understand what the point of that is. You didn't know there was a problem until you were told of the problem that existed. Okay, now you've been told. I mean, what do you want from before that? Predating when you were told. What is that? Ignorance of the issue, because it hadn't been brought up. What does that ignorance of the issue get us? Why is that mentioned? I don't know. And outside of me being friends with this person who had talked to him about me, outside of the donations I sent, and outside of talking directly to me in the streams where I would say something in the chat and he would read it and, do whatever, outside of that he didn't know who I was, of course. But that's, again, a weird sentence because it's saying, outside of the ways I knew you, I didn't know you. Okay, outside of being my uncle, I don't know my uncle. I wouldn't have known him if he wasn't. So, what does that even mean? I don't know. It's all this kind of, quibbling type stuff, covering your ass type of thing, where it's like, I didn't know about this until you told me. I didn't know you except for the ways I did. It's like, that's not helpful. I don't understand what that does except for desperately try to separate yourself from the situation. Anyway, after I found the emails in my spam folder, which I've been with Gmail since it launched. I was actually in on one of the beta codes or whatever the fuck they were called. I've never had anybody say one of my emails went to their spam folder, but, I can't really argue with that. It's just an anecdote. I don't necessarily know whether to trust that or not, but there's no evidence of anything else, so I just have to, by default, trust that. After I found the emails in my spam folder, I checked in with moderators to make sure that what you were claiming wasn't happening. Let's analyze the sentence again. I checked in to make sure it wasn't happening. Doesn't that indicate that you came to this with the bias of making sure that I was lying? Going to your moderators and saying, hey, this Tormental guy, he's full of shit, right? And they go, yup. And then you've gotten the answer you were already looking for, so you're like, okay, cool, everything is status quo. That is very telling. Like a smoking gun statement. I checked in to make sure that you were wrong. That is weird, very strange. You didn't look into it in a valid way. You asked your moderators if the moderators were right. Like, what? And in the event I found out it wouldn't be happening again, and I do not stand for personal bias crossing over and affecting my community. You actually do, because you've been shown... Here, let me bring up the thing here. Okay, here's the Twitch whispers that I actually put in the previous video, and again, Ohm should be aware of this if he's looked at anything, which he seems to indicate he has, but here we have Mega Rex, which I whispered first because I didn't know who had blocked me. It says, I was told to tell you that the shit talking about Ohm is what got you timed out, which I didn't do. Okay. Ren says, I will not let you out of your timeout. Think about how you speak of the streamer outside the stream too. Besides, only the person we can't discuss has been keeping you from getting timed out sooner. I'm tired of people talking shit about him and stuff behind his back. Which again, did not happen. And did not happen with the other person they made the same exact accusation for to get them out. So it would seem very much like you do stand for personal bias crossing over and affecting your community because you've been shown that is exactly what happened. The only way out of that is if you didn't see it, which would mean you didn't look at any of the stuff you were given, but, whatever. Alright. You were forwarded a paste bin of stolen chat logs. Whether you opened it or not, or whatever. And I'm tending to think you actually were forwarded this because you're not denying it. You never deny that at any point. You don't deny it. Almost like you feel like at some point it may be proven that you did see it or something. I don't know. It's very strange. Very strange to be accused of being sent this information and not telling us and not doing anything about it and not apologizing. Not that you have to, but I'm saying not apologizing, not saying it won't happen again, not saying anything after it's discovered. It's a weird situation. I don't know what the fuck. All right. Anyway, so you do abide personal bias. The only exception to that is if my own chat rules are being broken, or there was something especially or exceptionally malicious happening to friends of mine, i.e. hacking, doxing, swatting, etc. So Ohm takes, he puts his neck out there and he takes the very risky stance of he doesn't abide hacking, doxing, and swatting. That's really... I just found that funny. Like, that's a bold stance to not allow illegal activity in your chat, but... I don't know. I took the time to do all of this while I have been extremely busy with recording sessions, editing, handling pressing business matters, household matters, medical matters, and things related to family/the holidays. So, in summary, you're a human being, like me, and like every other person out there who could possibly see this. Because I'm pretty sure we all deal with that stuff. Specifically, I deal with recording. I deal with editing. I handle business matters. I have a second job other than YouTube. I don't really, consider YouTube a job in the classic sense, but I attend to household matters. I mean, I may not have had a pipe leak or a pipe burst or, this $2,000 bill that you recouped. But I do have a toilet that only flushes with a bucket of tub water. You have to run the bathtub into a bucket and use it to flush the toilet because it doesn't work. I do have a shower that doesn't work. I do have a leaking faucet in the bathroom. When you fill the bucket in the tub to flush the toilet, the tub faucet leaks. I do have a dishwasher that's been, sitting there broken for over a decade. I mean, I do have a washing machine and a dryer both sitting there in the laundry room that are both non-functional. You have to wash your clothes in a sink and hang them out on the porch. I mean, I do have a car that's, a couple decades old, where you have to press the hazard lights instead of turn signals. I mean, a lot of us have household matters to attend to. A lot of us have business matters to attend to. A lot of us have medical matters to attend to. I mean, speaking personally, when I was a kid, my mom broke her leg. Never came back from it. Playing catch in the yard with your mom while she sits in a chair. And if it goes past her, you have to run and go get it and hand it to her so she can throw it back. Taking care of her to this day when she's in her 70s. From childhood through now. Medical matters. Maybe I would have more medical matters if I could afford to see a doctor. I don't know. Being in that area where you're under the limit, the base limit for Obamacare. Things related to family / the holidays. As far as I know, Christmas falls on the same day for me as it does for you. So I think that your moderators probably picked a bad time doing this during my holiday season. Possibly. I do have family. I didn't spawn from a void. I mean, it may seem like that sometimes. And, I'm not trying to play the game of who has it worse. But I want to lay that out there because the last thing you need to be doing is playing these cards against someone else. Because you have no fucking idea what other people are in. You have no idea what position other people are in. So when you address somebody you don't know, and you have no idea of, and you don't know the life of, and you say, listen, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for what happened. I don't have time to listen to you. Listen, I have business matters. I have a household and medical matters. The holidays are coming up, and I'm busy with recording and editing. Do you not understand that this is what other people have to deal with too? Do you understand that doesn't make you special and remove you from having to deal with something? And again, this comes back to the fact that I was just informing you that you had a problem. There was a problem in your stream. You chose to go on this weird, defensive, cover-up stance. This weird defensive stance of this over this whole thing, and insist that you're not involved in your own streams. You're not involved in your own staff picks. You're not involved in anything related to you. How does that work? I don't know. Anyway. I'm not going to go and break down all of the obligations taking up my time for you on Twitter, a public forum. I don't need a breakdown of your obligations. That is completely irrelevant information to what I've told you. I sent you information about what's going on under your nose, thinking you might be interested. I don't need a breakdown of your life, alright? The fact of the matter is, I simply didn't have time to go back and forth repeating the same things on Twitter. Well, maybe actually, instead of going back and forth repeating things, maybe you should have handled it in the first place by listening to what was said, looking at what was given to you, looking at what's been shown in the other videos that you seem to have watched, and maybe, actually looked into what your moderators are doing instead of taking the quick route. Funny how often the quick route turns out to be the more time-consuming route, isn't it? Following my investigation into the concerns you raised, I was assured that you were not being blacklisted, and I'm going to give you an opportunity here, because I want to be fair about this. If you don't think that being targeted on your property, if you don't think that me being targeted in your house because I associate with other people that your moderators don't like, if you don't think that's blacklisting, I'm going to give you the opportunity to come up with a different word for it if you'd like. Call it anything you want. If you don't want to say there's been blacklisting, come up with a term for it. Because that's exactly what's happened, and that's what's been well and truly proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that people have been accosted by these moderators because of their associations with other people and nothing they did on their own. If you don't want to call that blacklisting, call it whatever you like. And that at worst, you were timed out one time, temporarily, for 10 minutes over a message in chat. I was not timed out over a message in chat. For my own research into my chatbot's logs, I found that you were never initially banned. That I was perma-banned for about a minute the previous night. Absolutely not true. And could have taken part in any future stream chats without issue. Yeah, it would have been great to sit there taking part in stream chats with moderators who are waiting to see what I'm saying to time me out, right? Sounds like a barrel of monkeys. Yet you made it sound in your video like you were maliciously banned. I was maliciously timed out. I was maliciously insulted and targeted by one of your people. So don't play that game where you're like, you made it sound like. It's what happened. It's what's been shown in the stuff that's been presented. It's inarguable. And, if you want to go against that, you just will be wrong. Objectively wrong. Anyway. Or unable to hang out in a stream that honestly you don't even seem to care about. I said, I was there because a friend asked me to go there and talk to them in the chat. So yeah, I don't give a shit about your stream. I'm sorry you've mentioned it here like it bothers you. Or unable to hang out in a stream that honestly you don't even seem to care about. If that bothers you, I'm sorry. I don't watch anyone's streams except for the people I record with. So yes, I do not care about your stream, and that's nothing against you. That's just the way it is I don't watch streams. The truth is, you blew one 10-minute time out completely out of proportion. No, I did not. That is a complete misrepresentation of the entire thing. And you know that because you've seen stuff that's been going on, and you were forwarded stolen chat logs. So you know it's not that. People get timed out and even banned all the time on Twitch channels for a variety of reasons. Well, that's, don't talk down to me, because that's really what is going on here. I mean, like I don't know that. That's that's patently obvious, You are the first I have ever seen that found a way to turn it into a conspiracy. Did I turn this into a conspiracy, or did I inform you that a couple of your moderators were probably fresh out of high school, conducting high school drama, forming an in-group and an out-group, and, using your Twitch streams as like a playground for where the cool kids can go and where the uncool kids are like, oh no, that's one of those guys that knows that other person. We're not his friends. He can't be here. Did I turn it into a conspiracy, or did I show you people abusing the power you gave them? You gave people power. They abused it. And I said to you, these people are abusing power, for their own silly goals. And you're going to say that's turning it into a conspiracy, really? You're going to try to undermine the entire thing by using that language. Seriously. I don't see how you thought this was a good idea. Additionally, the implications that anything relating to my responses to you was a matter of you not being big or important enough is not anything I ever implied in any way. Yeah, because saying you don't have time for something doesn't mean at all that it's not important. I don't have time for this. Totally not synonymous with, this isn't important right now. I don't know what... skewing reality. It's weird. You completely twisted that around to try to make me look bad. I mean, you're putting your own motivation behind things that, is probably just projection. Because right now you're twisting everything around to try to make others look bad, so you're projecting what you're doing onto others. All that happened was you were informed about something that was going on, and now look what you're doing. Look what you and I don't use this term loosely. Look what you've sunk to. But yeah. To be honest, I am completely insulted by the fact you found any justification in slinging that around as the reason I said did not have time. I don't really care if you're insulted by something. You don't get to be insulting towards someone and then say I feel insulted. So, this just, you have to join us in reality. Especially after I responded to you multiple times telling you that you were not blacklisted. Again, come up with your own name for it. What would you call it, Ohm? And that you were fine in my chat. Yahoo, I could sit in the chat and, be pissed on by your moderators. That's great. You just kept blowing off what I was saying, which is on you. This is funny from Ohm, who was blowing off everything. Saying, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, this doesn't involve me. I'm not involved, this isn't connected to me, I don't have time. And he's saying I'm blowing him off. What the what bizarro alternate reality are you living in? I made time to look into things and respond to you. Yeah, you looked into things by saying, mods, is he right? And the mods said no. That's what you made time for. Amazing. You just obviously felt like you were entitled to more of it. Don't bring entitlement bullshit into this. Entitled to your time? Why would somebody feel like they were entitled to your time? Is your time some great wealth to be had by other people? Is that something to vie for? To struggle for? To feel entitled to your time? Seriously? It just is this... The language used is very telling about this thing of, I looked into this and I figured out that you were wrong just on the face of it without ever looking at anything. And I don't understand why you feel like you're entitled to more of my time. Jeez, wow. Holy crap, you know what I'm saying? But anyway. This is despite the fact that you were sitting there just continuing to throw around more ridiculous accusations at me on Twitter instead of opening your eyes and reading what I had to say. The only thing I've accused you of on Twitter was receiving chat logs that were stolen from a private conversation. That's what I accused you of. Your moderator says that that's what happened. And when I quote-unquote accused you of it, it was me saying, this is a serious, accusation that needs to be addressed. So what I was saying to him was, it's pretty serious if you were looking at stolen private information, so you probably should address it before, it's out of hand. Like say that it didn't happen, say that you didn't do it, say that you told them not to do that, say that you looked at it but didn't think about it, whatever. I'm just saying that would be probably a good thing to do, is address the fact that you were part of theft. But, it's not associated with them, no. Alright, well, whatever. Where the fuck was I in this shit? Ridiculous accusations. It's, the wording is so pathetic. You were just sitting there, throwing around ridiculous things, and, open your eyes. It's all this language that's so dismissive and so rude and so, like talking down to somebody. So, screw it. that you weren't being blacklisted by mods and that you were fine in my chat. How many times are you going to say the same thing over and over again? It's like that old saying, the lady doth protest too much. You're repeating it a few too many times for me to believe you legitimately think that. Anyway. Regarding channel sizes, or even how I engage my community, I very visibly work with channels of all sizes. Nobody said you didn't, and I don't know what, I think in the last video, one of the other people, not me, remember he's replying to me, so he's putting this at my feet, which seems to be a habit of him and his mods, is, putting things other people say on my back or other people's backs. But whatever. He's talking about channel size. I never said that. And it almost seems like a hit nerve, maybe? I don't know. Regarding channel size, I work with channels of all sizes and engage people as much as I can with the free time I have. But you don't have time to engage somebody over impropriety in your channel that's been proven of your moderators. I engage with people as much as I can, but not this because it's not worth my time. Anyway. Even in the very streams you've tuned into recently, you saw me streaming with several smaller channels. And on YouTube, it's just the same. Okay, so, I have a question for you. I did see you streaming with smaller channels. How many smaller channels have you streamed with that moderators have told you, this person's a problem? If somebody said to you, oh, you're going to stream with this person? This smaller YouTuber? Isn't that the person who stream sniped you that time? Are you telling me that wouldn't have an effect on anything? Because that's what we're talking about here, is your moderators shit-talking somebody, and me saying that probably made things at least a little awkward if there was ever an organic result where, let's say I'm recording with some other people and they say, oh, you know what, Ohm's coming in with us too. You're saying that wouldn't have been awkward, that wouldn't have been weird, that, wouldn't have been something where maybe you would have opted out, depending on the situation. Those smaller people that you stream with, anybody you've had a problem with? Anybody that, has been blocked from your chat? Because if they were blocked, how would you have met them to stream with them? I mean, you see what I'm getting at here. If somebody's blocked, if somebody's banned, if somebody's blacklisted, if somebody's tossed out, if somebody's shit-talked, I sincerely doubt that you're recording with them, because they probably aren't around, or, if they are still around, they have that onus on them. They have the mock of Cain and Abel. I forget which one killed which, but you get the idea. I think Cain slew Abel, but yeah. I don't know, it's just kind of a silly thing, and it goes back to the thing of, the whole point was that your moderators have screwed over a bunch of people, well, a handful of people, who possibly would have had some positive outcome to what they were doing. And you've proven that by saying that you stream with smaller channels. Because other streamers also stream with smaller channels. So it's an opportunity that exists. But if the door's closed by moderators who are serving themselves and playing these pedantic little high school mean girls games, well, that's an opportunity that doesn't exist anymore. So you're on the verge of understanding what I'm talking about, I think. Because you're talking about, I stream with smaller people all the time. That's the point. The point is that people stream with smaller channels, but ain't gonna be any of us, because we's all blocked. Or we's all blacklisted. Or we's all shit-talked. So ain't gonna be any of us. That's the whole entire point of the fucking thing. Anyway. You grazed the point there, but it just grazed it and missed, so. And on YouTube, it's just the same. I spent probably 2 hours looking into the things you raised, yet for someone that claimed to have no requests, demands, or suggestions, you seem to have expected a lot more follow-up beyond what I already provided you on Twitter. What you provided on Twitter was, this didn't happen and I'm not involved. It did happen and it was on your channel. I don't need more follow-up from you. It just would have been nice if I got honest follow-up from you. That was the point. Because it did happen. It was informed by outside biases. And it happened on your channel. So to say it didn't happen, to say there's no biases, and to say it doesn't involve you, you know, that sort of follow-up, not something where I'm going to go, okay, thank you, goodbye. You know, give me a break. Again, this is coming from someone that claimed in his email that there were no requests, demands, or suggestions. You know, stop repeating shit at me. I wrote that. I know it. I don't understand. You have a lot of time to write the same lines over and over. I don't understand that. Yet you act as if I'm obligated to fabricate some sort of false reality for you, in which my moderators were keeping you out of chat and were stopping you from working with people like me. Holy shit, are you kidding me? First of all, I'm not acting as if you need to do anything. I'm responding to how you've acted. Secondly, fabricate a false reality. You've been shown absolute proof of what occurred, and you're still going to pretend it's fabricating false reality. This has been proven to you. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. That your moderators have acted improperly. And you're going to say it didn't happen. You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding. This has to be a joke. I don't know. The only person who brought this to my attention was you. Well, no shit. I mean, the only person who brought this to my attention was the person who brought it to my attention. Again, what is your point? I don't understand. Not my mods. Why would your mods bring to your attention that they were doing something wrong? Your moderators claim that they sent you a bunch of stuff, so if they're lying, and lying about you, that's a separate problem. Also, again, a problem on your plate. I would have probably never known about any of this until you brought it up. Okay, Ohmwrecker, you're welcome. Thank you for acknowledging that. You're airing your own dirty laundry, not my mods. I'm actually airing the dirty laundry of your mods. You, again, are grazing the truth. You're winging it. You're dinging the truth. You're grazing off its cheek. But you're not making that direct hit. I really think you looked at the situation from a dirty lens in the first place. It was covered in the slime of the behavior of your mods. That's why it was dirty. If it was dirty at all. You, on the other hand, are looking at your mods through rose-colored glasses. So, you want to claim I have a dirty lens. I'll lower that. Take the lens down. Look at things from other people's side. That's fine with me. That's what I'm willing to do. If you saw the other video, you saw me saying, I don't really know for sure about this. I don't know for sure about that. We can't really confirm this unless we had, evidence, which we don't. So I'll lower that lens. Are you willing to take off your rose-colored glasses that you look at your mods through? And not just say, moderators, did you do something wrong? No, Ohm, we didn't. Okay, moderators, I didn't think you did. Case closed. Are you willing to take that off? I don't know. If you look at things logically, Jesus Christ, logically, the implication that I'm not looking at it logically, it just reeks of passive aggressiveness. I don't understand. If you look at things logically, you were timed out once when there were somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 people in chat. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, that out of 1,500 to 2,500 people in your chat, the one person to be timed out and supposedly get out of line in this way happens to be someone who knows the person the exact same thing happened to in another stream with the same mod group, happens to know other people that have been treated the same way by this mod group. So weird that that random chance that out of all those people, those thousands of people, the one person this would be an issue for is someone who has the connection to the other people this has happened to. Weird. So strange. Big coincidence. For all I know, the mods read something and thought it was your text when it was someone else's, given how fast the chat can move sometimes. Oh yeah, Ohm. I got timed out for something someone else said, and they accidentally timed me out for what the other person said. That would make a lot of sense, except for the fact that I have the whisper here. I will not let you out of your timeout. Think about how you speak about the streamer outside the stream, too. Besides, only Blank has been keeping you from getting timed out sooner. I'm tired of people talking shit about him and stuff behind his back. From Mego on the other side, was told to tell you that the shit talking about Ohm is what got you timed out. You're not listening? Are you listening? Can you see this? Can you read this? You're going to sit here and tell me I probably was timed out because I was mistakenly timed out for something someone else said, when the whisper to me is directly about why I was timed out in the moderator's own words? Really? The mods felt that there was something said worthy of a 10-minute timeout, and it didn't happen again at all during the rest of the stream. I left after I was timed out. That's why there wasn't anything else that happened after that point. Because I wasn't there to time out. You're not going to time me out when I'm not in the chat, right? That's why it didn't happen again. What is this? It's like, there's no connection between anything you're saying. There's no connection there. You think it proves something that there were no more timeouts after I left the stream. It's because I left the stream. And the person who was targeting me didn't have me there to target. Okay? It was 10 minutes. There was nothing permanent about it. I know what 10 minutes is. I said in the chat. In the whispers, I said it was a 10-minute ban. Nothing ever stopped you from seeing the stream or continuing to engage chat when it lifted. Boy, howdy. Would have been so fun to engage the chat with a moderator who's out to, flip me out and get me out of there. Also, let me make this clear. None of my mods or viewers have ever dictated who I work with. Okay, so... Actually, let me read on. Let me finish the sentence here. Dictated who I work with, nor have I ever met a YouTuber or streamer that ever implied their mods influence them when it comes to who they work with. Okay, Ohm. Kind of a problem here. You've never met a YouTuber or streamer that said mods influence them when it comes to who to work with. Why would they say that to you? Does that come up in regular conversation? Do you often hear from people, oh yeah, I never, let my mods tell me who to work with. That's not something that would come up in conversation, so of course you haven't heard that from anybody. None of your mods or viewers have ever dictated who you work with, nor who you've met, It's not about dictating who you work with. It's about shitting somebody's name to multiple streamers, multiple moderators, multiple chats, etc. and so forth. It's not about dictating anything to you. I don't understand why you drew it to that. But I will ask you this, though. The person that is blacked out in this letter, that I'm not allowed to mention, because I don't have their permission, talked to you about collaborating with me. After which they told me they did that, and I emailed you saying, I heard that this was talked about, here's my information. This person, who is a moderator for you, talked to you about who you might want to record with. Your moderators talk to you about who to record with. Even if it's in one case. I sincerely doubt it's in one case. So, this thing about, they don't dictate to me. Well, nobody said they did. All I'm saying is that if somebody goes around crapping somebody's reputation up, it's most likely going to stick. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Where the fuck did I leave this off here? Okay. No one has ever told me not to work with you. All they did was forward you chat logs from a Skype group in some attempt to show that we were bad. That's all that happened. Or whatever else you think is going on. Yeah, nothing I think is going on, except for the fact that I have the admissions from your moderators saying it is. But that's fine. I've shown it. You know, people can see it for themselves. No one ever told me about anything with Bryce, Tash, Malls, or Molly. So what? Whatever is going on with them, you have to work it out directly. This is the height of hypocrisy. Something was going on in your chat, Ohm, with your moderators. I tried to work it out with you directly, as you are suggesting here. You're telling me to do what I did for you. And the result is you deny you're connected with it and that it ever happened. You know, great result. It just floors me that you're suggesting I go and talk to other people about this when I'm talking to you about it and you don't have any interest in listening at all. I don't, it's weird. It's very weird. It's like that thing, take your own advice, you know what I mean? I haven't had anything more than a random tweet with them in months. That's fine. My mods were not carrying over whatever problems you had with them over to me. From Renee. I'm tired of people talking shit about him behind his back. Think about how you speak about the streamer outside the stream. Only this person has been keeping you from getting timed out sooner. And Ohm says, my mods were not carrying over whatever problems you had with them over to me. It's right there. And yet you say this after it's been shown. Afterward. And yet even when I assured you of this, you still went off the deep end and made a super dramatic video filled with accusations and spin, much of which was directed toward me of all people. Let's break this down really quick, because this is going on way too long here. Yet when I assured you of this, yeah, you assured me that what I was seeing was not true. That's great assurance. You still went off the deep end. This video, right now, is a little curt. It's a little short, a little snippy. Because I'm tired of this bullshit. The previous video, when did that go off the deep end? Did it go off the deep end when we said, we understand where Ohm is coming from? Did it go off the deep end when we said, we're not trying to pile on Ohm, but this just happened in his channel? Where did it go off the deep end exactly? Is the deep end a measure of how fair we were being? Does going off the deep end mean we were drowning in fairness? Because if so, then we did go off the deep end and took in great heaping lungfuls of fair. Made a super dramatic video. I guess everybody out there who saw the video can remember when we all started crying and screaming in the video, right? Because it was super dramatic. Filled with accusations. The accusations are true. Your moderators admitted to doing this. And spin. Ohm, you're the one spinning this by saying it didn't happen when there's absolute proof it did. Much of which was directed toward me of all people. Much of the video was not directed toward you, Ohm. I think, you were mentioned pretty late in the video, and it wasn't much of it directed toward you. Anything directed toward you was just the fact that you were just dismissing the entire thing. You of all people, of all the people in the world, we directed part of the video to the person who hired the moderators on to his stream where this happened and is now denying that it happened. Of all the people in the world, we could have just addressed a random person from Ghana. We could have addressed a random Chinaman, an Icelandic person. I mean, we could have. Why even keep it to people? We could have addressed a sheep out in the fields of New Zealand. Of all the living creatures in the world, of all the plants and insects, and otherkin and headmates, out of all that, how crazy of us to direct some of it to the person directly involved with what was going on, who received a paste bin of stolen information, according to his moderator, who says he did, and that she sent it to him. Of all those people, we chose the person directly involved. Wow, what assholes we are. Anyway, I have the little highlighted blue part here where I'm going to start. With that said, I am done with this situation beyond this. Couldn't care less. It was absolutely not okay for you to drag me into this. Actually, it was not okay for your moderators to drag me into this, because I was dragged into this by your people because they didn't like other people I associate with. Because I know other people. Because I know Magnusword or Fox. Take your pick of which one. Because I know those people, I was dragged into their drama. I'm an entirely unrelated person, except for the fact that I know these two people. It was not okay for your moderators to drag me into this. It was not okay for your moderators to drag you and your stream and your good name into this. You should be livid. You should be outraged at these people who have taken me and you and thrown us into a shit situation. But for you to sit there and deny it happened, for you to sit there and say, I don't have time for this, for you to sit there and say, I'm conjuring up falsehoods when you've been shown the fucking information. For you to do that, I lose a little bit of my concern over you being dragged into this. Because I was dragged into it, but I tried to help the other fucking person who was dragged into it too. I tried to tell you what was going on. And you're going to act like this. You're going to call me a liar to my face. You're going to call me a liar publicly on Twitter. You're going to do nothing but abide the people who have dragged your name through the mud and the people who have dragged my name through the mud. You're not going to do anything about that. All you're going to do is attack the person who let you know there was a fucking problem. Really. I'm getting worked up. I'm getting worked up. But anyway, I'm going to take a sip of the soda, and when I finish with that, I'm going to be a different person. Ah, you think the soda is your ally. But yes. Anyway. Especially during the holidays. Yeah, I mean, it is unacceptable for your moderators to drag me into this during the holidays. And a time when I am exceptionally busy, as I made clear countless times now. Yeah, nobody's busy but you. Me being tied up with this, or me being tied up with so many other things. See, drinking the soda fucked me up. Me being tied up with so many other things is what it is. It has nothing to do with your size as an expiring creator. Watch me have a fucking heart attack now because my blood pressure is up, and I'll be an expiring creator. It doesn't matter about size. In this case, at least. Nobody's saying that, and somebody in the last video said, that you have too many subscribers really to care about, small things going on, etc. and so forth. But you're talking to me personally, and I didn't say that. So don't put shit off on me. It has nothing to do with size. It has everything to do with the fact that you just say, again in this fucking thing, I don't have time for this and I'm not connected to it. It's aggravating. Ohmwrecker walks into a pizza parlor. Walks up to the counter. Orders a deep dish Chicago pizza. Extra cheese, sausage, pepperoni, green peppers. Goes over to his table. Has a seat. Nice booth, right by the window. Sitting there just getting ready for his dinner. His pizza. Waitress comes over. Plops something down in front of him. Thin crust. No extra cheese. Anchovies. Pineapple. And a big loogie hawked right in the center of the pizza. Waitress looks at Ohm right in the face and says, I recognize your voice. You're Ohmwrecker from YouTube. I don't like what you said in one of your videos. So as far as I'm concerned, you can eat this shit. She points down at the pizza. She says, fuck you, and leaves. Ohmwrecker's like, holy crap, what did I do to deserve that? Jesus Christ. Goes over to the manager, knocks on the manager's office. Little short guy comes out, dress shirt, striped tie, pedo mustache, thick rimmed glasses. Says, yes, sir, what can I help you with today? Is there a problem? Ohmwrecker says, yeah, your waitress came over to me, threw this shit down in my face, told me she didn't like something I said on the internet, and told me to fucking eat this garbage. She said, fuck you, and walked away. Manager looks Ohm up and down and says, yeah, but I don't understand what that has to do with me. I'm not connected to this. I talked to the waitress before you came over here, and she says it didn't happen. So I don't really understand why you're telling me about this. I'm just, I'm the manager. I don't run this place. Ohm shows the manager the pizza. Here it is. Thin crust, pineapple, anchovy, no extra cheese. Big loogie in the middle of it. Manager says, oh no, that didn't happen. That's not there. That's a deep dish Chicago pizza. With sausage, pepperoni, green peppers, and extra cheese. Oh, that's what you're doing. You are the little manager in the striped tie and pedo stash. You are the guy who runs the fucking show and is saying, I don't understand why I'm involved. This didn't happen. You're shoving the pizza in my face, holding it up to my nose so I can smell the fresh hot spit. But I don't see it. I don't get it. Why are you so weird? Why are you being so strange? Why are you coming to me with this? I don't understand. I asked the waitress. She said no. It's annoying. It's very annoying. It was completely disrespectful for you to ever make those kind of comments. Shut up. Especially after you were responded to several times, when again I had very little spare time in the first place. I can't allow this to continue to disrupt or intrude upon all the other things I have to take care of / work on. Same, Ohm. Same. This is what I get for trying to fucking help you, dude. I received your feedback. I went as far as to make sure that nothing of the sort was going on. It was going on. It's been proven to you. Stop lying about it. And tried to reassure you on Twitter. You tried to reassure me. It sure is reassuring for you to say that isn't happening. It never happened. It has nothing to do with me. None of this happened. None of this occurred. You're crazy. You're a liar. To imply all this shit. That sure is reassuring. Thank you for reassuring me on Twitter. You weren't satisfied with that, so you went ahead and tried to drag me through the mud. Well, I tell you what. I didn't try to drag you through the mud. You may be covered in mud because you actually are just muddy. You may not have been dragged through it. You may just be crusty. I mean, There may be a bit of dirt on you from what you are dealing with. Moderators who send you private information. Moderators who abuse people, and then you go and talk to them and say, "That's not true, right?" And they say, "No, it wasn't." And you go, "Good," wink, wink. Maybe you got mud on you for other reasons. So, I don't know. When I had nothing to do with any of it. I think the pizza parlor thing proved you do have something to do with it. I'm not okay with that. Don't care what you're okay with. It is for that reason that I have had a hard time even sending you this email in the first place, as you're probably still going to continue to imply that you and your friends are a victim of some conspiracy against you. Again, it has been 100% proven that your moderators were targeting people. We're not implying it. We are directly telling you and showing you the information that proves it. And it's not really a conspiracy. It's more of a clique. Click, clique, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how you pronounce it. I've only seen it written. Give me a break. And by some sort of wizardry, it involves me too. Oh yeah, here's the wizardry I learned at Harry Potter's, what is that? Hogwarts. I went to Hogwarts with Harry Potter, Neville Longbottom, Hermione, Ron. I went to wizard school with all those kids, and here's a trick I learned. I learned a magic spell that makes moderators you've selected abuse people. Watch out when I wield this magic wand and magically place abusive people on your staff. Wingardium Leviosa. But yeah. I wish you the best in your journey on YouTube and Twitch, whatever. Please do not contact me again about any of this. Don't care. This never has and never should have involved me. Not true. You're lying. I am not going to stand in your way of making YouTube a job or from working with anyone. Guess what? I don't believe you. I think that if it came up where you said, "Alright, I'm ready for the stream," and someone said to you, "Oh good, we're streaming with a new guy. It's this guy named Tormental," I think you probably would torpedo it. If not directly, then just by dropping out and making them think, "Gee, why did Ohm drop out? This Tormental guy must be bad news." That's the effect this shit has. You refuse to see it. You ignore it. Whatever. Just drop it already when it relates to me. No. A couple of my, 20 plus mods and my channel. So, here's the thing. Translation from Ohmwrecker. Anything that happens to you, don't talk about me, the mods, or the channel. Just don't talk about it. Keep it under the rug. My people can do whatever they like. You better not say shit about it. Whatever. Instead, try to work things out with whoever it is. You know what? It's one of your 20 mods. It's some of your moderators. You just said. You just said drop it when it relates to your mods. And you're saying work it out with whoever it is. That would be your mods. And by extension, you. For hiring them, for catering to them, for, kissing their boo-boos, whatever. Whoever it is you think they are in relationship issues, if you feel like they'll hinder you in the future, blah, blah, blah. I have nothing to do with any of that. Yeah, you do. Nor do I have any knowledge of any of those concerns being true. Here's the thing. He says he has no knowledge of the concerns being true because it's plausible deniability. Alright, that's a message from Ohmwrecker to lil ol' me. And I am just flabbergasted. I'm going to pull out the F word. Flabbergasted. By how insulting this has been. And how disgusting this has been. This actually disgusts me. I wrote a letter to him very nicely and very plainly explaining what happened. I wrote it in a very bloodless way. I purposefully did not want him to stop listening to it because I was being mean or something. So I purposefully wrote a nice frickin' letter where I just laid out the bare facts about what was going on. Gave the evidence. Said if he didn't believe anything, I could send him anything he wanted to know. I could have him talk with people who know the moderators. People who this has been admitted to. I can show him the screenshots of it being admitted to. I can show him anything. I can show him the world, shining, shimmering, and splendid. If he didn't believe anything. He never wanted to see anything, related to that. He didn't ask for anything, didn't say he didn't believe it, didn't say anything. All he does is say, I have no knowledge of this being true, so that he can deny that he knew it was true all the times it's proven. I wrote him a nice fucking letter. I got this back, accusing me of wizardry, fabricating shit, going off the deep end, being overdramatic, so on and so forth. Just how dismissive and dishonorable can this be? It's just a very silly state of affairs. I don't know. Alright, well, that is my video for now, and unless anything else comes up, and I doubt anything else will come up, I think they're in full cover-up mode, whatever. They probably, ideally, they won't do this to anybody again, these moderators. Ideally, they had the shit scared out of them, I hope, by this coming to light. So, hopefully this won't happen to anybody again, and even if there's no honesty from Ohm about the fact that it did occur, no honesty from the mods that it did occur, even if nothing is ever addressed, the fact that they probably won't do this ever again is hopefully reason enough for these videos, and hopefully makes it a success.